So, just starting off, just first off, tell us who you are, give us your background, and how you got involved with Dharma Dreams Vocational Center.
Well, my name is Joanne Burke-Sherman, and I have a pretty varied background. If you go back to college, I was a math major and then went on to my MBA for finance and marketing. I went off to corporate America, and I did the whole building database systems, marketing database systems. I used to manage large cross-functional teams so that we could call you during dinner and send you junk mail, really high-quality stuff. But eventually I had children, and my firstborn had a disability. It was not evident immediately. It came to light a little bit later. And so he kind of helped me launch my first business outside of corporate America, which was a holistic health business, because I really wasn't a fan of all the doctors pushing medications on him from a very early age. So I did that for about 10, 11 years. And all the while advocating for my son in the school system. And I really was looking for something different than what the schools were offering, and I, quite frankly, tried to get them to do it. But the whole time in the back of my head, I was thinking, well, I think this is something I'm supposed to do because there's a lot of red tape and it's slow going in the school systems. And so eventually there was just a variety of synchronistic events, including one of the vocational schools that I thought was going to help me. The superintendent was really fabulous there, but he ended up retiring, and a whole slew of other things happened. I said, yep, these are all the signs. I'm supposed to do it. And so I decided to launch this program.
Yeah, that tends to happen a lot where it's a parent who, a lot of nonprofits we've talked with, it's like a parent or someone directly impacted by it, sees a need and kind of fills that need, and it becomes like a whole big thing. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what is Dharma Dreams Vocational Center?
Well, part of it's in the title in that it's a vocational program, but it's really a job training program for adults with cognitive disability, so in the age 18 to 26. And it's to learn skills in the trades such as landscaping, painting, and plastering. Right now, if you were to go to my website, dharmadreamsvocationalcenter.org, it actually lists 5 programs there. And originally, that's where I wanted to start, was with 5 programs. But we definitely ran into some issues with being a startup and a little bit of a no-name and the size space that I wanted. So I did downgrade to 2 programs. However, I leave the 5 up there because I think it's a point of interest for parents visiting the site, because my intention still is to start with 2 and grow into more. However, I am open to different programs depending on what I see as the need from other parents who are giving me input.
Okay. So what do you consider your role within the organization?
Well, I'm the founder of it, but as many founders in a startup business, you kind of wear all the hats.
Right.
So I am, well, I haven't added podcasting to my list yet, but I am the social media person. I am the fundraiser. I am the networker. I am the CEO. I really am doing a lot of things, and so I just try to balance my time as best as possible to do it.
Now, do you have full-time staff? Is it part-time people? How's it work?
I have a board, so they are supporting me. However, it's not their full-time job. So they help me with a variety of things. For example, one of the women was actually working on one of the handbooks for the program, and they help with little bits of things, but not. I pull the majority of the weight here in it because it is my full-time job, not theirs.
Yeah. Now, when you're out in the community, networking and all that, when people ask you what the mission is, what do you tell them? What's kind of that elevator pitch you give to them?
Well, I think for me, I feel it's about purpose. So Dharma is a Sanskrit word which means life purpose or calling. And dreams, of course, is something that all of us have. We have dreams about doing different things in life. And I feel like this is about providing life purpose to people, because everybody needs a reason to get up and go in life. And I feel like we're falling a little bit short here. A lot of these kids are not being given the job skills that they really need to have to go out and be successful in life. And it's great that we have disability insurance. However, it's not really a great living. It's not a lot of money to live on. And if you look at the statistics in special needs, there's a high percentage of depression, there's a high percentage of addiction, and even in the prison systems, it's reported that 25% of prison inmates will say that they were in a special needs program or special needs class at some point in time. And when you think about that, it's
Yeah.
kind of horrifying, and I think we can do
Right.
better.
Absolutely. So, you've kind of answered this right, but why is it so special to you?
Well, it is special to me because I am a mom who has seen the need for it, but I'm creating it because of my son, but not necessarily for him. He's now 23,
Okay.
and he may or may not attend this program, but I do know what it's like being in the trenches of a parent every day. I mean, all parents have their struggles, right?
Right.
But when you have a special needs child and you're just trying to get out the door in the morning, I know for us in middle school, literally it could take hours to get out the door. So it was highly stressful at that time. And so I just want to make change for the parents that are coming up the line because it's for the kids first and foremost so that they can feel good about themselves
Right.
and have life purpose. But it's also for the parents because, every parent worries about their kids, right, and their futures. And ultimately, you just want them to be happy. But if we can help them with their confidence and self-esteem and feel good about themselves in life, then I think we've done all right as parents.
What's the biggest needs of the organization right now? If you had to.
Well, there's a lot of needs. The big need that I have right now, which has kind of been surprising for me how long it's been taking to do this, but is to find a building, a space that we can host it. I'm in the middle of negotiating a place in Braintree, but we're looking for roughly 6,000 to 10,000 square feet, and it's
Wow.
called flex space, meaning I need a little office, I need some classroom space,
Yeah.
and then, of course, the workspace where you can get dirty with the painting, plastering, and landscaping stuff. So maybe there's someone wonderful out there that was willing to donate a building. I would be so happy about that. But in the meantime, it's just eyes and ears. Let me know if this. I've been to the finish line a couple times on some buildings, and it hasn't happened. And I'm very hopeful about the one I'm working on now, but I just got to put it out there that that's a
Yeah.
big need. And beyond that, of course, it's fundraising is huge. One of the things that I feel is very, very important is to make this program accessible to
Right.
all people. And of course, when you're dealing with special needs, the classroom size is small. You have special needs teachers, vocational teachers, more staff
Yeah.
involved. So that obviously increases the price. And quite frankly, we're looking at low 40s right now for tuition. And I do anticipate that we would get private pay for quite a few people, but I know realistically this is not affordable for
Right.
many, many families. And so it is important to raise the funds for that because I don't want anyone feeling that they couldn't go because of
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. If people want to find out more about the organization, where can they go?
Well, of course, the website, which is dharmadreamsvocationalcenter.org. Social media is another area. So currently, they can look me up on LinkedIn, which is Joanne Burke-Sherman. And then I'm on TikTok. Actually, I started that.
Wow.
I only got a few things out there, but we'll grow that a little bit more. And then Twitter and Facebook are probably the bigger ones that I use for typical social media.
What about if someone wants to get involved or volunteer? What areas can people help out in?
There's lots of areas that people can help out on. It's sometimes tough to figure out ways to delegate to folks, but I think there are ways that people could get involved with again, social media. If someone's really good at that and wants to create posts for me, that would be amazing. Fundraising, of course, is huge. I do the newsletters. If someone had a great newsletter they want to do or write a blog post, if there's a grant writer out there, there's so many areas. And quite frankly, I'm open to creative ideas. If someone is listening to this and they have a way that they think that they could help, I'm willing to talk to them.
Perfect. So, as we know, the nonprofit world can be really rewarding, but at the same time, it can be challenging to navigate. What's the biggest challenge you've faced so far with the organization?
Well, I think it's the wearing of all the hats. Like I said, I'm doing my best to balance it all, but I know I could be working 24 hours a day. And so you just have to say to yourself, Rome wasn't built in a day, and
Yeah.
you do what you feel is the most critical thing right now that will help the business get launched. Finding the building has been more challenging. Like I said, we've been to the finish line a couple times, and it just hasn't come to be. But again, I'm a believer in right time, right place. I try to keep it all positive, and when it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, what's the most rewarding thing?
I really enjoy the process. I enjoy the people that I'm meeting. I'm a lifelong learner kind of person, so everything that I learn along the way, I enjoy learning. But really, it's been the kindness and generosity of people. So, for example, when it comes to fundraising, I have a long way to go, but my most generous donor so far actually came because one of my friends who lives in Virginia, she shared a Facebook post. So please share any of my posts because you never know what happens. Right. But one of her friends said, "Oh, that looks so interesting. I want to talk to her." And it took us probably about 6 months to connect. And I thought maybe she had a special needs child that she just was interested in a program like this down in Virginia. And I'm always open to talking to people. Right. But we spoke for a while about it. She loved what I was doing. And at the end of our conversation, she told me she wanted to donate $15,000. So that just takes you off guard when people do that. But it's amazing. I think the news media focuses so much on negative things happening out in the world. But you know what? There's a lot of good happening out there, and it's people like that makes it good.
I was just curious because I was wondering like how people were finding you and connecting with you.
Well, I think one, I am trying to get out there and network.
Right.
Hopefully this podcast finds a few people who are interested. And you got to do as much as you can to get out there and spread the word. So I do ask for people to share the posts. If there's families that have a particular need, I'm open to talking to them because this is something that's going to evolve over time. And I try to make myself as accessible as possible, do talks when I can, and just try to spread the word. But it's a small startup.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Is your target audience kind of like South Shore? Is it Boston area? What's the
South Shore is where I am aiming right now. As far as a building, to be honest with you, so I live in Braintree, so it just happens to be that this building is in Braintree. But I was to the finish line on a place right here in Marshfield, and one in Norwell, and so I'm looking all over the place to see where the best location is. Yeah. But South Shore is really what I'm thinking.
If we do this podcast, let's say we do this again like 2-3 years from now, where do you think you'll be, or what would you envision success being at that point?
Well, one, having it launched.
Right.
Having it launched, I am confident that it will get filled because the classroom sizes are pretty small, and I 100% know there is a need. But beyond that, like I said, I have the 2 programs. I envision expansion to more programs and getting more opportunities for kids because just like everyone else in the world, everyone has different interests and different talents and different skills. So I want to be able to offer different things to different people. And ultimately, if you keep going down the years, 10 years or so, I really believe this is something that will spread to multiple locations because the need is absolutely there. And just from parents that I have spoken to, it gets really, really challenging, especially after age 22. I don't know if you're familiar with the IEPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those end at 22. And there are some services out there after 22, but really a lot of parents feel lost and don't know what to do. And I had talked to a dad who called me about the program, and he had an autistic child who was no longer able to attend in these programs. He was a contractor. He now was working part-time because he's trying to help his kid, and he just was stuck. And I don't think the families should give up their jobs because they feel stuck. We have to find ways to support our kids and get them out there being more independent.
When you're going around talking to people about the organization, what's that one thing that surprises people? They don't like, oh, I didn't think about this.
Well, you know what? So there's a variety of things, but one, I really am not. I don't call this a school, really,
Yeah.
because I don't focus on the academics. So it's not about the social studies and science, because I think those are the stressors for kids who with cognitive disabilities,
Yeah.
or math, for example. That's a stressor for everybody. Or I was a math major, so not so much for me, but for most people, it is. But the other part of it is, and I think this has to do with my holistic background that I came into it from. I really want to focus not just on the job skills. I want to focus on the whole person. I am a huge believer in the power of positivity, the power of mantras, mind-body techniques, meditation. All these are great calming techniques, which all of the world could benefit from. But this group in particular has a pretty high level of frustration and stress. And so I think if we can help them manage all of that, then they'll be in a better place to manage the job situation and the learning and all of that and just life, really. It helps life.
Yeah, definitely. So wrapping up, is there anything you want our listeners to know about Dharma Dreams before we wrap up today?
Well, I think those are definitely key pieces to all of this, meaning that it's what we do is a holistic approach. I think that it's important for people to have a reason to get up and go. I think it's important for everyone to build their confidence, their self-esteem, and really just make this world a better place. There's a lot that people can do, and this is just one little thing. Academics needs to change, or the focus of schools, I think, needs to change. Again, we all have talents. Let's focus on the talents that we have and not the deficiencies that we have. And the schools kind of force you into the deficiencies just because they got to check that box off that we covered this topic.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today and want to wish you the best of luck with the organization.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.